Chiquita's Pizzeria, Snyder Ave, Philadelphia, PA. I was invited to be a guest on Fermented Adventure, the show, with host Rich Shane on rvntv.tv. So I grabbed a cheesesteak and I headed to the rvntv.tv studios in Cherry Hill. Rich and I cover this cheesesteak in detail. So without further ado, here I am, Fermented Adventure, the show, with host Rich Shane on rvntv.tv.
We're back on Fermented Adventure, the show, and yes, we're eating cheesesteaks with Jim Pappas of Cheesesteak Adventure, Philadelphia Cheesesteak Adventure. Jim, tell us about the cheesesteak you picked up on the way here, and give us a quick visual of what we're looking at here and why this is or is not a good cheesesteak.
I just stopped at a place. I turned down Snyder and grabbed this cheesesteak. It's funny, there's a couple things looking at it, it's a couple things I really like off the bat. We're talking about the roll. The roll feels and looks pretty standard, so I'm not expecting a lot from the roll. I like stringy onions.
Stringy onions, okay.
And it looks like you can tell from the caramelization that they did spend a little bit of time on the grill. I would have liked a little bit more maybe. It looks like the mushrooms didn't spend a lot of time with the onions. Cheese is kind of clumpy, kind of looks like it was melted on top and then flipped into the roll.
Okay.
So, yeah, my first impression of this cheesesteak is... I'm not sure. It smells great.
It smells
phenomenal.
I wish we had smell-o-vision for you so you could smell it and taste it over your TV. So one of the things we did was we took a poll on our social media site and we said, well, what would work well with a cheesesteak? I got a lot of replies, and believe it or not, one was grape soda, obviously root beer, and then a lager. So we picked up a couple of things that we're going to try. So the first thing let's take a taste. You can kind of do that, and then we'll wash everything back down with what we're trying in terms of the drinks and the cheesesteak. So let's take a bite. I like the cheese. I like the creaminess. To me, it's juicy. Tell me what you think. Because I don't know anything, and I'm going to open a grape soda while you're doing that.
I think what I like about it, the meat is good. The meat, the smell, it lives up to the smell we had, because the smell was phenomenal.
It's hard to talk after you've taken a bite of cheesesteak, isn't it?
Yeah. We should have alternated bites.
Maybe we should.
Maybe next time. But there's a good amount of cheese.
Okay.
I mean, the cheese...
I got a lot of cheese in my bite.
Oh, yeah, me too. But
yeah, that was good.
It doesn't have that even distribution.
Okay.
You know what I mean? I'm afraid we're going to get the uneven amounts of cheese.
Some onions, some beef, some cheese, so it's not evenly distributed through. So we picked up some Henry's Grape Hard soda. So we just took a bite, and you were skeptical. What does grape soda taste like with a cheesesteak? So cheers, let's try this. Actually, after having some cheesesteak, that's not horribly bad. You get enough of the grape flavor without this feeling sugary sweet in the mouth. So this isn't as a hard soda. I've never had a Henry's before, but as a Henry's hard soda, this is pretty good. What do you think?
I think it's absolutely good. I think it does, like you said, it's a different flavor, so you're not getting a flavor on top of a flavor you already had. So you have your cheesesteak flavor, and then this comes in and complements it instead of trying to overbear it or trying to, it blends in nicely with the other tastes.
All right, well, let's go crazy and take another bite, and then we'll add another bottle or something to the mix. So this is one of those shows where you tune in and we eat in front of you. So how about the second bite, Jim?
I have to take smaller bites.
I keep catching up on you.
This, one of my bigger complaints is the mushrooms. You put the mushrooms on, I want the mushrooms on the grill with the fried onion, then
rather than being mixed up separately.
Well, you put them in cold.
Right.
You know, Put them on the grill.
They don't get caramelized a little bit. You don't get the oils and the juices from the steak either, right? Is that what you think of them?
Right, exactly.
All right, so root beer favorite, dad's, not your father's root beer. We're going to try that and see how that goes now. I've always been a fan of this root beer anyway. So for me, I think it goes well. But I have to be honest, right now, I'm digging the grape soda more. This has a little bit of bitterness, which for some reason, mixing with that steak, and we had a lot of people come back and say, hey, I love root beer with my cheesesteak. And maybe it's the hard root beer versus the beverage root beer, but not your father's root beer, great root beer, but I don't know if this goes great with the cheesesteak.
Yeah, I wish I could disagree with you. I think it makes for better TV if we argue about stuff.
Let's argue.
Unfortunately, we have to agree this time because I agree with you. I love root beer. Root beer is probably my go-to soft drink.
Okay.
So I like it. It's good, but you're right. It kind of blends. It kind of gets lost in with the cheese.
It does.
It's kind of all the same taste. But
So,
because I like it, I'm going to have another drink.
all right, take another one. And then we're going to go, after this, we're going to do a Yards Loyal Lager. We had a lot of people say come back to a lager. Smaller bite. We'll do another bite of the cheesesteak this time. That's funny. I got no cheese on that bite, and I seem to get all steak and all bread. What do you think of that next bite? Because I know you're looking for different things to happen on there.
That bite just confirmed all my fears.
Okay.
The roll, it's just a standard roll. It's not a bad roll. There's nothing wrong with it, but it's standard.
It tastes fresh to me, like it did come in today, but for some reason it doesn't. Wherever they're getting it, it doesn't jump out at you. It's not. Hey, that's like you said. That starts the whole show in your mouth. The roll's got to tell the story and give it a base, and I don't think it does.
Right, it doesn't. It like you said, it's fresh. It's good. It's well made, but it just doesn't stand apart. Doesn't make the cheesesteak pop.
Okay. Well, let's see how this is with the Yards. So this has a little bit of hoppiness towards the end, a little bit of sweetness to it. You don't get overwhelmed by a lot of, the heaviness of the beer, and I think that's why a lager does go well with a cheesesteak. I would certainly say this is a really good lager to go with this cheesesteak. It really enhances the beef and the creaminess of the cheese and everything else. So I would say, yeah, even though we've got that grape soda going on, I'd still stick with the standby lager.
Absolutely. I think I agree with you. Again, I would love to argue for better TV, so you invite me back, but I'm going to have to agree with you.
Well, if you keep bringing cheesesteaks, we'll invite you back.
There you go.
There's
Nice. That's my entry.
That's your entry?
Yeah, a lager, absolutely. These both worked for different reasons, but yeah, a lager, a nice cheesesteak, a nice beer.
So one of the things that you mentioned to me while we were getting set up is, hey, how about whiskey with a cheesesteak? I don't know, I've never had whiskey with a cheesesteak, but I thought since we had some Pops McCann whiskey still on set, we would try it. So we'll do another bite of the cheesesteak, and why not? And then we'll see how the whiskey goes down.
Can we just drink the whiskey?
You want to just do that? Well, I mean, it wouldn't be Philadelphia Cheesesteak Adventure and Fermented Adventure if we weren't combining the two, would it?
It wouldn't, so
Okay.
I guess we'll do both.
Okay. I took a big bite there, and I got the whole bottom. So I'm getting onions, I'm getting mushrooms, I'm getting cheese. I'm getting everything there. But again, I think every single one of the mushrooms that they put on my cheesesteak was in that one bite right now. So that's about where it's at for me.
Yeah, it's funny. It's because it's like if I grade a cheesesteak badly, or if I don't like it, or I quote unquote don't like it.
Right.
It's not that I don't like it. It's a standard roll. It doesn't pop, so it's an average roll.
It's an average roll.
The cheese, there's a good amount of cheese, but I got cheese in every bite. It was just clumpy. It wasn't melted through.
Gotcha.
Like I said, I got a lot of mushrooms and onions on that bite, so it seems like it was all put together and then flipped into the roll. Excuse me.
All right. Well, let's do some whiskey. Let's see how it tastes with that. In Pops McCann tradition, let's have a taste! To all those that came before us, cheesesteak eating as well as whiskey drinking, cheers. tell you what, that wasn't a bad idea to do a little Irish whiskey with the cheesesteak. Now, I don't know if I could drink it like I would a beer, but sipping it as it goes, a little bit at a time, you get the corn, the graininess of the whiskey. I think that's pretty nice. I really do. And it certainly is warming me up for a good amount.
It's definitely doing that for me also. But it also goes, like I said, if you're having a good steak, if you go back to the basics of a cheesesteak, the meat being the primary piece of the cheesesteak,
right?
Pairing a good steak with a good whiskey, that's good clean living.
All right.